Now in this video we're going to begin to look at options. Now options are an important part of the money advice process. It's actually how you deal with your debts. These are the options, the solutions that you use to deal with your debts. And if we remember the video about the money advice process, we talked about the 5-step process. Armed, with step 1, acquire all relevant information. Step 2, respond to emergencies. Step 3, maximise income, minimise expenditure. Step 4, establish a sustainable financial plan. Step 5, discuss all options. Now, when we discuss options, we can actually break the options into 2 high-level categories. And the first high-level category is debt management, and the other high-level category is debt relief. Now, in terms of debt management, what we're talking about here is somebody basically can't afford to pay their minimum payments to their credit card. They can't afford to maybe make the monthly payments to their personal loan. Their financial obligations have now become problem debts. But with a bit more time, with a bit, maybe a forbearance from the creditors, a reduced payment, a bit more time to repay the debts, they could repay their debts and they could repay them over a reasonable period of time. So that's when we'd maybe look at using a debt management solution. Now, in terms of debt relief, that's similar to debt management in that, yep, somebody can't pay their credit card, they can't pay their loans, their financial obligations have become a problem debts for them, or have become problem debts for them. But they can't repay their debts even with a reduced payment, they're not going to be able to repay their debts over a reasonable period of time. And really, in order to get a fresh start, a new beginning, that person's probably going to have to look at some sort of debt relief, getting their debts written off. Now, within debt management, there's a number of different options. For example, we've got the voluntary repayment plan or the debt management plan. We've got the debt arrangement scheme. Now, both these schemes are very similar in the sense that you make a reduced payment to your debts and you pay your debts over a reasonable period of time. The first one, the debt management plan, though, is a voluntary arrangement and it requires all the creditors to agree. It requires them to freeze interest, for example, and to take no further action and to accept the reduced payment. Debt arrangement scheme is a Scottish Government scheme. It's slightly different. I mean, basically, the interest is frozen by law. The creditors can't recover the debt, and even if all the creditors don't agree to it, they can be forced into it if the debt arrangement scheme is fair and reasonable on the face of it. Now, the other 2 options we can look at in terms of debt management is things like token payments. Now, this is when maybe you've had a temporary income sort of crisis, you've maybe lost your job, you became ill, and you're not able to pay your debts. And you're not even able to pay a significant amount to your debt. So what you're basically offering your creditors is £5 a month or £1 a month as an acknowledgement that you have a debt. And basically what you're saying to your creditors is, would you freeze the interest, accept these token payments as an acknowledgement that yes, I do still owe you money. And as soon as my circumstances improve, I will come back to you and we'll go into a repayment plan where I will pay an increased amount to you. Another option is the moratorium, which is basically similar to the token payments, but you don't even make a token payment. But again, you're asking the creditors to put things on hold for a short period of time in order that you can actually basically try and get back on your feet and then you'll repay your debts. Now, in terms of debt relief, we're talking about things like bankruptcy, we're talking about protected trust deeds, both types of formal insolvency, and we're talking about things like debt write-offs. Now, bankruptcy and trust deeds, if you can afford to pay something, you would have to pay something for 48 months. You may have to realise assets, but after those 48 months or 4 years, your debts will be written off, or sometimes in a trust deed it may be 5 years, 60 months. In terms of bankruptcy though, if you cannot afford to pay anything, you may not actually have to pay anything, and your debts will be written off after 1 year. So that's the real difference between bankruptcy and trust deeds. The next option is debt write-off. Now, the debt write-off isn't a form of insolvency, and you wouldn't be expected normally to repay anything towards your debts. Basically, what you're saying to your creditors is there's mitigating circumstances. I've had a bereavement, I've got mental health problems, I've got an illness, and it would be fair for me or for them to treat you fairly. It would be fair for them to write the debt off. And a lot of creditors, if there is genuine mitigating circumstances, if they can be provided evidence of that, they may be prepared to write your debt off. The other option, actually, another debt relief option, we sometimes use as a full and final settlement, which is where somebody will maybe borrow money from a family member and they'll maybe make an offer on a full and final settlement, so they'll pay 75 pence in the pound or 85 pence in the pound, and that really depends on the circumstances. But sometimes a creditor would rather sort of just accept a reduced payment because that person is maybe able to make a lump sum payment, and sometimes we can negotiate a reduced payment. So they're your 2 main options, and we're going to look at these in a bit more detail. So it's debt management and debt relief, and we'll be discussing those in more detail in the next videos.